Next, Jordan, is Avatar, the last Avatar of the
Avatar
Avatar.
Aang, The Last Airbender.
Jordan, who cares what the title is? It's Avatar.
I care what the title is. When you give that movie goddamn respect,
I
it's
don't.
art.
I don't
I'm the last Airbender.
You may be the last Airbender, but you're not alone.
I'm the Avatar. I found allies from every nation. And together, we ended the 100-Year War.
Aang, because of you, all of the nations live together in peace and harmony.
All except mine. An Airbender.
My senses tell me this guy is pretty attractive.
What does attractive even mean?
Just give me a straight confirmation. Is he attractive?
He's very attractive. Huh? What? He is. It's all in the bone structure.
Aang, you and I can heal the past. And together, we can build a new world.
Welcome to Team Avatar.
Jordan, when you Google Avatar movie, it's the only correct one. So like, okay, when you go to Google it, just type in Avatar movie, and if it's
Avatar
not the
Aang,
one,
The Last
if
Airbender.
it's
Give
not
it
the
its
one,
goddamn respect.
if
You
it's not the
goddamn
one,
even.
if it's not the one that's live action, you've got the correct one. That's how you know you've got the objectively correct. No, this movie, Jordan, I'm just gonna be straight up. Every second I watched it, I became more and more enraged. I was filled with seething white hot rage that I wasn't watching this movie on a goddamn big screen. I was so pissed off. I was like, this movie is fucking great. Like, yeah, I saw
It's
some
beautiful.
people. I saw some people nip. The thing that's irritating me, all the nitpicking I've seen. Like, yeah, does it have some story problems? Sure, it has real bad midquelitis. Like, just horrendous midquelitis, where you're like, none of the cast can die. None. I saw a spoiler. So we're gonna spoil the shit out of this. Just up front, the non-spoiler
I
version
mean,
of
yeah.
this.
The only reason why it suffers from mid-quelitis is because we all knew when this movie came out. We all knew that there was going to be a new show coming out, which is continuing on after Korra and directly
Well,
references
no, but I mean,
Korra,
it's.
which means that hold on, which means that we have to accept that Korra is canon, which means that we know what happens to these characters.
I mean, I suppose, yeah. Even so, Korra is canon, whether you accept it or not. And so you know that all of these characters go on to live. The only one who doesn't
Well,
is Aang.
most of them.
But Aang still
No,
has to
that's
have.
that's not true. Sokka also doesn't.
Isn't he in Korra?
He's in a flashback in Korra where he's a
Oh.
little bit older than this, but not. He's not. Yeah,
Okay, fair
he's
enough.
dead. He's dead in
I
Korra
thought he was in Korra. I didn't realize he wasn't in Korra.
in
Okay.
a flashback.
Well, I thought that the flashback was present day. I didn't realize it was a flashback. But like, okay, but still.
No, it's a flashback back to when Aang is alive.
Korra, not Korra. Katara, Toph, Zuko, and I mean they all have varying degrees of it because you know that Aang has to live to go on to have kids. They don't have kids yet, so they have to go on. He has to go on to knock up Katara. So you know
Well,
he has
see,
to
that's
live.
what's interesting actually is apparently originally in one of the first iterations of the movie, Katara was gonna be pregnant.
Interesting. Okay, then, because I saw a spoiler. Because everyone knows the history of this. Everyone knows that it leaks. So when this, I think it was after it had come out. I saw a spoiler that was Aang dies in air quotes, and I was like, well, Aang can't die because he has to go on to father kids, and so I was like, oh, that's obviously a fake out. And so then when it got to the moment where it faked it out, and I was like, well, yeah, obviously it's a fake out because he has to go on to like this could have had that tension of if they had maybe said it a bit later in his timeline of, and this could have offered the explanation as to why he died, but yeah, that's
I mean, yeah. The thing is that that's where people get frustrated because like there is an explanation for why he died so young in Korra. If Korra is canon,
Yeah.
there is a reason for why
It's
that is,
really
and
dumb.
nobody likes it.
But yeah, they
Um,
like there's the bad guy of this shows up, and even Jordan immediately went, he's very clearly the bad guy. And I
he's
will
definitely
say,
the bad guy.
I will say there was a period of time in this where I thought that it was going to subvert, and he wasn't going to wind up being the bad guy. And because again, let's do the kind of
I liked
vaguely-
this movie a lot, but like, no, it wasn't.
No.
It's doing the hero's journey kind of
Yeah,
scenario
like,
where
well,
it's
to
like
me-
it's following the beaten track.
to me,
It's beautiful, and I love it.
We'll
but-
gush. We're gonna gush in a moment, but let's be fair minded, because I saw a lot of nitpicking that fucking annoyed me, and I was like, it was shit like, oh, how come Aang immediately trusts this guy? Well, because he's in a weak place emotionally.
Yeah, and that's an airbender.
There's stuff in this that is worth criticizing, like the oh, I forget the Forsaken, not the Forsaken, not the abandoned ones. What were they called?
What?
The other bad guys in this. What were they called? The abandoned
Oh,
ones.
the lost ones, I think it was, or
Lost
something like that.
Ones, or-
Hold on. They were the Denied,
The Denied. The one of the girls in
which
the,
are basically supposed to, like, they're basically like this movie's version of like the pre-version of the Equalist from the Korra
Yeah,
world.
very much so. But the one of the not the main one, who is basically just Azula. She's basically just Azula. But one of the girls, like, they give her the end of a character arc that they kind of have a loose beginning of when she shows up, and then they don't really have the middle part of her, like, having some sort of, like, deal where she's upset about something that they never really do anything with, or it doesn't really go anywhere. So then when, like,
I mean, her arc is she's angry at the Benders. Aang saves her in the beginning.
Yeah, but they
Katara
don't-
continues to reinforce the idea that Aang is placed in it, and then by the end of it, she realizes she no longer wants to
but
be a villain.
It's really
She has
weak.
an arc. What are you talking about?
It's really weak, though. She disappears for huge chunks of the movie just to come back and have this moment with Katara that is unbelievably unearned, that comes completely kind of flies out of nowhere, that you don't notice because the movie's gorgeous, but is not very well written. So
I mean, she's a
it's not-
tertiary character. The movie's not supposed to be
Yeah,
focused
but
on
the movie
her.
is kind of acting like it seems as though, like, in an earlier version of this, she was like, it seemed like it could have been a thing where she gets the staff, and then she seems to have shared a similar. It seems like her character arc, or at least the main leader of that group's character, was supposed to reflect the Dave Bautista's character's arc. And it seems like maybe at one point in the scripting process that she was going to get the staff, and it was going to be about her, like, giving up the power or what have you. And, like, yeah, that is probably by and large the weakest part of this. It is otherwise a gorgeous fucking movie that is beautiful. Like, every review I saw of it called it technically proficient, which it is. It is technically, like, it upsets me that the Avatar movie people saw first is the M. Night Shyamalan one and not this. Like, it's funny because Jordan immediately said, this is a Ghibli movie. Or not a Ghibli movie, but a Hayao Miyazaki movie. Because those aren't synonymous. And yes, there's several moments in this. Like, Dave Bautista thinks that he's in a Miyazaki movie. Like, that's the kind of weird wooden perform. Not wooden, but, like, that's kind of like the weird line delivery he's giving. It's like he thinks he's in Taika Waititi shows up as a cat spirit thing. That's definitely from, like, a Totoro movie. Like, at least that's what it feels like. I also enjoyed how canonically one of the avatars is a defeat. Hey, Jordan.
It sounds weird when you put it like that.
It's not. I mean, he's complaining that people's feet aren't well manicured enough, and that they were awful in their sandals. Jordan, if that is not a man who likes a well manicured pair of feet, I don't know who is, Jordan. Just saying. I'm not judging. I'm not judging.
I'm not here to
judge.
I'm not here to place a truth on one person or another. It could be, it could not be. Who could say?
I mean, he did. multiple times in the
It's-
interaction between
and I will let-
him and Aang.
And I will let him speak for himself.
That he's just Jordan. He's played by King Kwang Ki. I'm not saying he's my new favorite Avatar because he's unabashed about his love of feet, but he loves feet, and it's fine. It's fine that he loves feet. I wasn't even all that distracted by the voice acting. With the
No, for me, it's, I mean,
Sokka
maybe
was
this
pretty
is just-
spot on. Like, he was pretty well nailing it. I was pretty impressed.
maybe this is just like just a me thing, but like in particular for Toph and Aang, like you could argue for Zuko because he was already like 16 or whatever.
Yeah,
Your voice
Zuko's
wouldn't
the
change
one.
that much, but like Aang and Toph in particular, they were both 12.
Yeah.
Their voice changes a lot from
Right.
being 12 to being 23
Right? Exactly.
or 24 or however old they were in this. I don't remember exactly
Yeah.
how old.
Exactly.
But your voice changes a lot. So like them sounding different didn't pull me out at all. It only time it did is when they showed young Aang.
Yes.
Like when they showed young Aang and he talks and he sounds weird, that tweaks my brain a little bit.
Yeah.
But I can get past
There was
that.
a couple of moments where Zuko
Same
did
with
it.
Katara. Katara being like sounding a little bit different to me doesn't really.
No, for me it was Zuko, and it's only because he's played by Stephen Young, and there's points where he just sounds like Invincible, where I'm like, yeah,
That's fair.
he sounds like Invincible, and he doesn't
I
sound like
mean-
Dante Bosco, and it's pulling
Yeah,
me out.
I was gonna say for me, it's not even that he sounds like something else. It's just purely that he doesn't sound like
Yeah.
Dante Bosco.
Like, I recognize his
Dante
voice, and
Bosco has a
it's-
very specified, like specific
me out.
voice though, so like I can move past that
There's
too.
points at the end though where it just where it's the super mega avatar form versus super mega evil avatar form, and it just becomes an episode of Dragon Ball where you're like, this is the fight sequence in this are so well animated. It's not even that it's pretty, which it is. It's fluid. It moves
Yeah.
so smoothly, and like its use of light and shadow and colors is just utterly incredible.
Fantastic, and I wish I
Like-
could have seen it on a big screen.
Why wasn't this put in theaters? It would have made so much money.
Well,
don't
especially because like
understand
when it comes to, and apparently it only had a budget of 80 million. That's remarkable.
That was remarkable.
But what's frustrating about it too is, especially with Avatar, there is a market for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like there is,
Absolutely.
there's no
Absolutely.
question in this instance. Like I could see how sometimes there might be a question of it, but like when it comes to Avatar, no, there is absolutely a market for it. So the fact that they did not want to put it in theaters is
And when
just
we talk about like Blank the movie, this
Disgusting.
This is a better version of Blank. This is the high budgeted version of the TV show that you should be
Absolutely.
receiving when you. This is when you're like, the movie needs to raise the stakes to a point where it's like you couldn't do this on TV. That's what this is. That's what
yeah,
this is.
and like this is
Crazy.
also the example of like the
Offensive.
way that it's doing
Offensive.
the thing that brings it to the next level is in terms of like what's been on TV. We haven't gotten to see this aged versions of these characters, right?
I mean, there-
that's
yeah.
why that's why it works as a movie is because we're seeing a scenario that we've been wanting to see, right?
Yeah.
We get to see the characters at a point in their timeline where all we've really seen is like flashbacks in the Korra show, but it's like, no, I wanted a movie of this, and
And
I
they
wanted to
all-
watch it on the big screen.
They all get moments to be cool. It's funny because we were
Absolutely,
making fun
they
of
do.
Sokka.
Even Sokka.
There's a bit where they're like, I really like the opening, and yeah this you can watch this having never watched an episode of the show. It will absolutely teach you everything you need to know about the show multiple times.
Yeah,
There's a
it's
big
very
long
good at that.
opening monologue Aang does where he recaps the events of the show that he then does again when he meets Dave Bautista. He does it at least 2 more times, but there's a bit where it's like a fire, wind, air, or fire, wind, earth, water, and it's the different characters doing it, and then it's like, and Sokka is also there, and I was like, that's not fair. Sokka actually gets to do cool shit in this movie. They all do. They all get a moment to be cool in this.
I
If you're a fan
I
of
love
some of
that.
the girl characters, I wouldn't hold your breath though.
I just love I love every time that Toph does something cool, and she's like, "I'm still the world's greatest
I
Earthbender."
mean, she does some cool shit in this with her. Oh, yeah,
It
yeah,
is also cool getting to see her. You see the parts where she's teaching.
yeah,
Those are references to characters that are in the comics.
yeah, yeah,
Where like she has a metal bending school.
yep. But
Um,
like that's
and
what I'm
uh,
saying when I'm like,
And but it's just most importantly, the thing that I really enjoyed about this is, and I'm not even just talking about the M. Night Shyamalan one, but like the live action show as well, where the characters are in character.
right, right,
Like they
right.
feel like the characters
It's
and they're
not
in
all.
character.
It's not all like
Aang
super
isn't all doom and
serious.
gloom and serious. Like he has moments of levity
Yes,
where
they,
he's
they all do.
fun.
They all have moments of levity, and yeah, there's moments where it goes from being serious
So
and Sokka
nice.
cracks a joke. It's like, yeah, he's
Yeah.
you know, Sokka's a goof, right? Like his relationship with the kids where they don't think he's cool. Like that's Sokka
That's
in a nutshell.
Sokka.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the best comparison I can give is that I learned about via social anyway is so there's a scene in the original basically where uh uh um uh uh Zuko is on his own or whatever, and he has to make this choice about whether he's willing to steal from a pregnant woman or not. In the cartoon, he doesn't, and that shows his moral strength. That even like in the hardest of times for him, he has honor.
Yeah.
In the live action version, he just steals it apparently.
Dumb.
Like complete character assassination. So like it's
Dumb.
nice to see like in this version where like the Avatar gang, like Zuko gets to have a moment where like he cares.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I enjoyed the fact
As
that
a
he was
heart.
like, he was like, yeah, I gotta go deal with this. You guys go gather the team, and I will say that yeah, in terms of criticisms, yeah, this is the tad little, hey, Avatar Sonen. It was kind of neat to see some of the other avatars as he went through the cycle. That was pretty cool. But I like the bit where he's like, hey, how about leave a note next time. Next time you're like, hey, I've left a big super criminal
do not disturb.
trapped in a ball of energy up on a mountain who nearly caused the end of the world. Don't break him out.
Like leave it. Yeah, he's like you could like inscribe it in the wall beside it, so anybody who comes
You
doesn't
had
try to
several
break him out.
teachers you could have told. Maybe like leave it a note in your little mind palace thing where there's just like the rows and rows of avatars that came after you. Maybe like leave a note for like I don't know, one of them, maybe.
But yeah, I like this movie.
Oh, it was really. If you're a fan of Avatar, you owe it to yourself to watch this because it is kind of completely incredible. Like we're like, wow, this is a lot. Yeah, like this is what I'm saying whenever I say like nobody wants a shit comic adaptation of a sequel story. Like no, I don't want to read the shitty Zuko comic where he looks for his mother. Nobody wants to read that. I don't care how many times Donkey Bosco says it's a surprisingly good read. Nobody wants that.
I'm
want
not.
this.
I'm not gonna say that nobody wants it, but like because clearly
No, they deluded
there
themselves into thinking
there
they
are
want
people
it.
that would, but like they prefer this.
Yes.
I prefer this. I will settle for that, but but I want this.
If you prefer, nobody wants that. They will.
Nobody
settle
wants
for
it.
it.
Wants that. Yeah, exactly.
And they
Nobody
don't want to
wants
admit
just
it.
that. Nobody wants just that. People want that as a supplemental thing that they get as well as this.
See, I push back on that idea because I'm like, if I went to, okay, you notwithstanding, because I know the option you choose, but if I went to anyone else and went, hear me out, okay, this is a beloved cartoon that you enjoy. What if we made it into a full animated series, complete with animation and the characters spoke and talked and had a voice? Or what if we did none of that and we put it on paper with word bubbles? No one's picking on paper with word bubbles, is what I'm saying.
Right, but what I'm saying, Justin, is not or, and we take this, we make it into a full show, and you get a comic.
I sure, but like that's a consolation prize at best. But my point is,
it's not. Again, in that instance, it's not a consolation prize because you're still getting the thing. So, like in this instance, you get the movie, but you also get at that point it's supplemental material. It's not like a thing that you're getting hoisted upon you. Currently, in the current timeline, what we had up until this point, Korra notwithstanding, but what we got up until this point was the consolation prize. That was the
Yeah,
consolation prize.
yeah.
All you got was the comic.
I guess my point
but
is,
in a world where you can have, like, we can go back 4 or 5, like when this was originally conceived, and you go back in time and you get this, and then you also get comics. That's not a consolation
my
prize.
point is
that's
nobody
a bonus
wants
point.
comics, though. That's my point. Nobody wants them. Like, nobody is like, yeah, I want.
Nobody wants just comics. No.
I don't know. Like, nobody. I guess nobody wants a comic. If I must reword, nobody wants a comic book sequel to a thing. Nobody wants their thing to be resolved via comic. Nobody wants that.
That's where I say supplemental material.
I haven't that.
Not replacing material.
I don't know.
So
I've never seen the appeal.
I'm not saying I want that, but I'm saying if you're gonna have them in comics, I want that to be the secondary thing that's not important to the main thing, which is the real show.
I've never seen a comic book like that where I'm like, yeah, this doesn't feel like it's glorified fan fiction. Like, I'm never.
But also that to be fair though, for me it depends, because like there's obviously certain exceptions where I do prefer it, but like for the most part, like with Sonic, for example, I think there's way more comics than there are shows, and the comics are usually better.
That's a valid point. Yeah, I guess what I'm thinking of, what I'm talking about is, like, I'm talking about, like, if I went to you and I went, Jorah, what do you want? Actual season 4 of Final Space or a shit comic? You're gonna say actual season 4 that's what I mean when I'm like.
I am, yes.
There's nobody who's like, no, but you know what? Actually, I want the
us,
comic instead.
But like, if they gave us actual season 4 and then like also released another comic, I'd be cool with being a comic.
It's a waste of paper. For me, that's a waste of paper, ink, and
and
talent.
that's because you're a snob.
Comic books are comic. If you're gonna have a comic book, then have it be a comic book. Like, create a comic book. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying it's a supplemental thing. You can have a story that takes place. It's like, it'd be the equivalent of, like, we have the Simpsorama comic book or whatever. That's not an episode of the show, but I value it just as much.
The actual crossover they did on the actual show is better.
That's a supplemental thing,
right?
It's not replacing the thing that you're saying, but I'm saying if you get it in addition to the thing that you're already wanting, then
that's a great example, because I always thought those comics were bad. Like, just like even as a kid, I never thought they were very good. I thought that
you spent money on them, so you couldn't.
Because it looked like The Simpsons, but like it always didn't feel right. None of the there's lots of times in those comics where characters don't talk the way they do on the show. It just doesn't sound or feel right. It feels like fan fiction.
Yeah, you're a snob.
Nah, like to me, it's different than when you have an actual character that begins its life as a comic book character. It's different. To be fair, it doesn't always. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes a character that is in a comic doesn't work in real life either. Like Marmaduke is a great example of a character that didn't work in live action, right? Like, there's just certain times where it's like,
but there's a difference between it not working and you just not liking it. It does work in comic book form. You just don't like it.
I will
for
say,
Avatar, I'm talking about. I don't know about the final one. I didn't read that, but for the Avatar ones, I've taken those stories into my being, and I liked them.
I don't know. I refuse to believe that if you could cancel that out and have it not exist, and would rather watch it animated.
Would rather have it animated, but like to me, it's the equivalent of like that's the equivalent of like when they have the DC animated movies where they're just taking a comic book run and turning it into a movie. Like it works both ways.
Yeah, but those movies never end up being as good as the comics that they're based on. They're always worse than the comics they're based on. They're never as good as the comics they're based on. So that works just as well. Where like, when you do those straight adaptations, they always wind up being, because it doesn't feel like the same writing. And this is the same thing. Like, you cannot convince me that any person's like, you know what, I'd rather read this thing as a comic book. Nobody wants them. They settle for them, and they've deluded themselves into thinking that they want them. That's my point.
We keep getting away from what I've been saying, which is where I'm like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but I'm saying having a comic book run or a comic book version of the thing, which also exists on top of what you're asking for. Where is the harm in that?
Oh, I never said there wasn't any harm. I said nobody wants it.
That's not true. That's empirically not true because they keep doing it.
No, they do it because they want to make money. But no, the audience, no audience member wants it.
I think you're gonna get pushback on that.
Well, no, I will get a pushback on it because people have lied to themselves and convinced themselves that they do. Nobody wants a comic book based on a beloved. Like, nobody wants the Darkwing Duck comic book. They want the Darkwing Duck cartoon show, and they've convinced themselves.
No, I don't think that's true because the comic book came first.
Darkwing Duck? No, Darkwing Duck and comic book didn't come first. Darkwing Duck the show came first.
Maybe I'm thinking of Scrooge.
Scrooge the comic book came first, but you notice he didn't become popular until he was well, at least mainstreamly popular until it became an animated show. But still, that's not what I'm talking about, though. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking a show that started off as an animated thing and releasing a comic book version of it. Nobody wants that. Like, they may think that they do.
You're gonna get pushback on that.
Well, yes, I will, because people are lied to themselves and convinced themselves that they want that. But no, nobody wants to read.
No, I just think you're a snob.
No, nobody wants
quite
to.
Honestly.
If I went to a person who was a fan of Avatar and said, "What would you prefer? Would you prefer to read the story on a piece of paper of how Zuko found his mother, or would you like the guys who made the series to come back and do a special where they animate it?"
Right, but again,
they're gonna pick the animated special every single time.
That's not what I'm saying, though, Justin.
That's what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is that, yes, in a world where that got made, right, where that got made into the season 4 of the show, the argument is not, do you want that instead of that? The argument is, do you want that, and then let's say you're going on a place where you don't have access to a TV show. Do you also want a comic book?
Yeah, but you're making a completely different argument than I am.
Yes, I am.
What I'm saying is nobody wants it to exist.
I'm saying you can have both.
Why? Why have both?
I just told you why.
All right.
You're in a situation where you can't watch the fucking television, and you can have a quiet book. You're at your grandparents' house, for example.
I guess I could read a lesser quality version of the thing I could watch on TV. Sure.
Okay, we need to move on. You're being willfully.
But I'm not.
You are.
You're making an argument that I'm not making.
You're just being a snob.
I'm not. You're making an argument.
You are.
You're making an argument
that
I'm not making.
You're just being a snob.
I'm saying that nobody wants that.
You're saying nobody wants a comic book version of a show that exists.
No, they don't.
That's not true.
They think they do.
That's just.
They think they do.
Willfully not true, Justin.
They think
that's not true.
They think they do. They think that they want it because they think that they
want more.
You're
just a snob.
I'm not a snob.
You are.
I'm not a snob.
You are.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
It's not the truth. You think it's the truth.
If you went to any
person,
if you went to any person and you said, "What would you prefer? A comic book version of this?" Nobody.
Again, we're having two different conversations.
Nobody would pick the comic book version.
We're having two different conversations.
That's what I'm saying.
You're fucking ignoring what I'm saying.
I'm not ignoring what
I'm
you're
ignoring what you're saying.
You're not. I'm not ignoring what you're saying.
We're gonna move on. You are.
I'm not ignoring what you're saying.
You are.
I'm saying that.
I'm saying in a world where you can't, where you can have both. You can have both,
Why?
Justin.
What's the point?
Because if you're in a situation where you can't watch TV, you can still enjoy the thing that you like.
It's still a lesser quality version of it.
No, it's not. Just because you don't like books, Justin.
It has nothing to do with liking books.
Just because you don't like comics.
You want to see the thing that I've watched for 50 episodes.
Right, and you can do that.
Why would I want to read a shitty quality,
and there are times where you can't do that, and in the times where you can't do that, you can still fucking listen to a thing. It's the equivalent of having the speakeasy versions of the audiobook versions of the fucking Doctor Who, where I can still engage with an episode while I can't watch an episode.
Again, nobody. That's another great example. Nobody said, you know what I want.
That's clearly not true, Justin. Or these things wouldn't exist.
They exist because of money, but
you're
no.
We need to move on because you're genuinely starting to piss me off.
Well, just let me finish this point.
No, Justin, you're just so wrong.
But I'm not wrong.
You're so wrong.
I'm not wrong.
You are.
I'm not wrong. At the end of the day, there's
absolutely a world for both of these things.
I'm not saying
just because you don't fucking engage with one of them more than the other.
That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying nobody wants it. Nobody wants it.
That's clearly not true.
Whether or not
because these things exist.
Yeah, but again, if you had the option.
So there's an audience.
No. There's a difference between choosing it and settling for it. Like, sure, people have settled for a world where all you get is Matt Smith and David Tennant doing an audiobook where they barely put in the effort.
Yeah, we need to move
Hold
on. You're pissing me off.
Hold
man.
on. Yes, absolutely. There's a world where people are going to watch that, but they've settled for it. They don't want that. They want a version of this where Tom Baker puts on the costume and David Tennant puts on the costume and they film a live action thing. Nobody wants a Doctor Who audio drama where these characters team up. They want them to do it on screen, but they settle for the version where they do that. It's the same
Audience
thing
come in and destroy him.
That's the same thing. It's the same thing with the comic books. Nobody wants the version of the Zuko story where he finds his mother on paper form where they have to read it and fill out the voices. They want Dante Bosco to come back and record audio for it. They want the team from Avatar to they settle for the comic book version of it. They don't want that. Nobody wants that. They want the fulfillment of the story to come in the medium that it originally started off with. Nobody chooses it. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. Is whether
we're having
or not,
two different conversations.
Whether or not its existence is something that people will settle for is not what I'm saying. It's like nobody wants it. Like, no, you don't want the shitty comic book version.
We're having two different conversations. So
that's what I'm.
You're talking in absolutes where it has to be one or the other. I'm talking.
No, I'm not talking in absolutes. I'm talking.
Yes,
about,
you are.
I'm talking about.
You absolutely are.
I'm talking
You're
about.
Saying nobody wants the. Nobody wants the comic version of it. And yes, you're right. In a world where that's all you get, nobody wants that. Yes, you're absolutely right. In a world where you can have the fucking movie, which we have, and also have comic book versions of it, there's no problem there. And you're being an arrogant fucking prick about it.
I'm not. Nobody wants it. There's a difference.
You're wrong.
I'm not wrong.
You're just obtusely wrong.
I'm not wrong.
If nobody wanted these, you to make them.
No. Again, the best example is you think if people had the option to see Final Space like as an actual show, do you think that they would want that? Or do you think that they want it as a shite comic book?
But that's not what I'm saying, Justin. What I'm saying is yes, in a world where we can have that as a show, absolutely I want that.
Right.
But if there's also a comic book where we're finding out about his backstory, or we're finding out a story that doesn't happen on the screen, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I said we're having two different. So
the one in
let's
the world,
move on, man.
In the world where they let's say they did Final Space.
Let's move on.
Hold on. In the world where they do the Final Space.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm going to talk about this in the world you're talking about where we do both, right? Let's say we have the Final Space comic book that's the final season. They released that, and then months later they put out an actual season of television. Nobody's reading the comic book. That's my point.
That's not true.
Why? Why would you when the actual version of it exists? Why would you?
Because maybe you're somewhere where you can't watch it, and then you can engage with it in a different way, Justin.
Then I'll wait till I can watch it.
Yeah, that's you.
Some
people don't want to do that. Some people prefer. That's why, even though there have been books about a thing, for example, like there's the Animorph books. They were books. They're written books. But someone fucking went and turned them into fucking manga versions. Or in the reverse of it, for the longest time, I think I still have it on my shelf. No, it's not, Justin.
It's different.
It's not. It's just a different interpretation of the media.
But it's not.
In a world where it's both? Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I feel just...
It's the equivalent of fucking... You took Harry Potter and put it on the movie screen.
That's
it's not different.
It's not the same thing. It is different. That is very different.
It's not, Justin. It's not.
It's very different.
It's different in a world where it's one and then later you get the other, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a world where, let's say, for example, Avatar, the original show, is still on the air. We're still back in 2000 whatever, right? Right?
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is, at the same time, while it's on, they also release a side adventure comic book where it takes place in the world at the same time, and it's just one that we didn't see on screen.
Yeah, I've never. This is me being
you being a snob.
They never when I was a kid. Those did exist, and they were almost exclusively not very good. They almost exclusively.
You're a snob.
No, because it wasn't the people writing the show, so the characters always felt like they were out of character, or it felt like they
Yeah,
it
you're
felt
a
like
snob.
it felt like fan fiction because this wasn't the people who wrote the show. So the character, like to me, a great example of it, like in the reverse, is like that reboot comic that was going to be based on the movie, or that the movie was going to be based on it, where like you had Turbo say stuff like "Am I lagging?" Like there's certain things where like it's like whenever I read a Power Rangers comic, like I think Power Rangers comics are disproportionately not very good because they miss the whole point of Power Rangers. A, the design tends to not look very good, and B, that you can't do, like, half the appeal of Power Rangers is that it's live action. But the same thing with Super Sentai, where no, I refuse to believe there's a world where people wouldn't rather see a high budgeted live action version of the Lord Dracula comic. Like,
Here's what I'm gonna say, Justin. Yeah, that's your opinion. You're welcome to your opinion, but clearly, Justin, there's an audience for it because they keep making. There's a lot of comic books for Power Rangers, Justin, and there's a lot of people that like them.
I think
but just because you arrogantly think that your fucking opinion is higher than all.
I don't think that. I just you could not convince me that if I went.
That's great. That's great that you feel that way.
If I went to any Power Rangers fan and I said, "What would you prefer? All of this comic book be in live action on the screen, or would you prefer to read it and make up the voices in your head?" Like they're gonna say the live action option.
Who can say? Who can say?
I mean, reasonable confidence. You couldn't convince me that anyone who says otherwise has not deluded themselves into liking a thing that they've said.
Again,
before.
that's you being arrogant.
I don't think it is.
I think it is.
It's who would select a lesser quality version of it? Like again,
because it's in a comic book doesn't make it lesser quality.
What would you rather watch, Jordan? This is gonna wrap up Avatar beautifully. What would you rather watch, Jordan? Would you rather watch this as a stunningly, gorgeously animated, technically proficient animated movie, or as a comic book?
I mean, that's a loaded question, and you know it.
It's not a loaded question.
It is a loaded question because that's not what I've once said. I don't want one or the other. I want there to be both. I want there to be a world where I can have this movie, but I can also pick up a comic where I see what's happening to them like a year from now.
That's not what I'm talking about.
But that is what I'm talking about.
I'm talking
That's
about
why I've said for a while now, Justin, you and I are not having the same conversation. We're just not.
I'm talking about, but I'm talking about your version of this where,
you're not.
They put out a comic book version of this.
You're not, Justin. You're not talking about the same thing.
They put out a comic book version of this, and the movie also exists. Both exist. You're not going to pick up the comic book adaptation of this.
Yes, I will.
No, you won't.
Yes, I will.
No, you won't.
The one where it's about, let's be fair. For me, I don't have room for comics, so I don't actually buy the comics. But yes, I do engage with them. I have listened to all of. Yes, I do. I have listened to all of the fucking Avatar ones.
No, yeah, sure, but are you gonna?
I absolutely have, and yes, if I'm in a world where I get both, where I have this movie, and I could have a comic book down the line where it's a year from now and we see what happened to them.
That's not what I'm saying.
I will engage with that.
I'm saying it's an adaptation of it.
Right. But that is what I'm saying. I'm not talking about making a literal adaptation.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's why I keep saying we're not having the same conversation.
I know we're not. I'm trying to get you on the same page as me.
No, because I will not engage with that world. We both know people prefer a movie over a fucking comic book. But I'm talking about, in addition, having both things, Justin.
That's not what I'm talking about.
That's great. That's great that's not what you're talking about. Nobody cares, Justin. Nobody cares.
It's not what I've
been Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
It's not what I've been talking about.
I've
been trying to say that, and
I've already told you what I'm talking about. We're not talking about the same thing. So what do you want from me?
I don't know.
I've said in a world where we can have both, I want both.
That's the world we already. It's what the world we already exist in. It's
not.
Yeah, where we exist in a world where yes, Avatar comics and the show exist at the same time. Obviously, that exists. They exist. They made them. They're not very good.
We do now because
nobody read them.
My point, though, Justin, with this movie is that no, we weren't going to. They wanted to fucking delete this.
No, but they made a bunch of Avatar comics that are sequels to the show. Nobody read them. They're not very good. A
lot of people like them, Justin.
It's got a very small.
Because you don't. It's because you don't. No, a lot of people don't know that they exist.
Yeah, that's my point. They're not very popular. If you prefer, they're not popular. They're not popular. Nobody read them. Like that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Is nobody reads these
Okay. So
these-
let's move on.
The
We
nobody
get it.
nobody
We
reads
get what
these.
you're saying. You've said it over and over again.
Yeah.
We get it.
That's what I'm saying is this. I got wildly away from the point, which is to say that this is what that should be. This should be the sequel. Like that. Make a movie. Make a movie. Make a mini series. That is an actual proper sequel. Don't make shit comic books that nobody's gonna read. Is my point.
Stop that.
No, they are.
Yes.
Nobody read them.
They're not shit, Justin.
Nobody read them.
Just because you don't like a thing doesn't instantly make it shit. I like those comics. So shut up.
Nobody read them.
I did.
Okay, but I'm saying that in terms of the
So
mass.
just because you didn't read them, how do you know they're shit? Did you read them?
If they weren't shit, they would be more popular.
Did you read them?
It has nothing to do with anything.
Yes, it does. Did you read them?
No, because they're not
Did you
very
go
popular.
and look at the art?
I have
Did you go and look at the time that people
interest
spent
in
to
it.
make them?
No
Then don't be a
interest.
fucking prick.
No interest.
You can say things
No
in a way
interest.
that's not a fucking asshole way to say it.
No interest. No interest. Nobody read them. What do you want from me? It's not my fault nobody read them.
Again, that doesn't instantly make them shit.
If they weren't shit, people would have read them.
We need to move on, man.
That's what I'm saying.
You're pissing me off.
If you prefer that, they weren't very popular, and the audience who...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Justin. Is there is a better way of saying things
Not-
which elevates you and make you seem like less of an asshole.
Okay.
Maybe you should try doing that.
Okay. The audience who watches the show...
It wasn't
who is
well
the-
received. You could say it like
Bad.
that.
Bad.
That's
Not very good.
That's a polite way
Lesser-
of saying
of
it,
lesser
rather than being
quality.
Like, it's shit. It's shit.
It's
Justin,
shit.
how would you feel if fucking you were the person that worked on it and you said like that? Someone said to you that's shit.
Well...
Well, it wouldn't make you feel very good, would it?
I feel pretty good with my
Justin, the work
millions
that
of
you do every
dollars.
day, the thing that you put onto
Oh.
this earth is shit. You're shit, Justin.
That's not what I said. You're getting weirdly
That is
defensive.
what you said.
I said it wasn't very good. Good,
No.
and then I was
You said it was
hyperbolic.
shit.
Well, yes, I was being
You used
hyperbolic.
the word shit.
I was being hyperbolic for the purposes of comedy. It is not
Wasn't
very
funny.
If you prefer, it's not very good. Nobody liked it. The audience didn't care for it, and
not
half
true.
of them, nobody read them. Nobody read them. Nobody read them. They were
Doesn't
not
instantly make it-
well. They
that-
were not
that's instantly
successful.
make it shit.
If
That
they
means
were,
that
if they
it's
were
not-
at
that means
all
that it's not
successful
seen a
or
lot,
good, then
that
they
doesn't
would have done
necessarily mean that
something
it's
with
shit,
them.
Justin.
They would have adapted them into something. They would have done something.
Well, I
with
mean,
them.
clearly not when fucking Paramount wants to fucking squash them. They had this fucking gorgeous, brilliant movie that they didn't
What
even
I'm
want to put in
saying.
theaters.
It's better than the
So
comics that
doesn't
nobody
mean, that
read.
doesn't mean that the comic book stories were shit. That doesn't mean that the art
Wow,
was
it's
shit.
really specifically the one-
That means that the people that were making it were not allowed to make something better.
Really, specifically the one
I
that's
did the
about
best with what
Zuko's
they were
mom
allowed
is not
to
very
do.
good. Nobody read it. Like nobody cared enough
Again,
about
that
the
doesn't
mystery.
that doesn't mean that it's shit.
Yeah, but nobody cared enough about that story that it's shit because instead of making it into a season of television that it should have been, instead of making it into its proper thing, which was a piece of animation, it was a comic book that was bubbles and artwork that was made to look like the cartoon. But no, that is shit. That's instead of spending the money.
Okay, we need to move on.
If you want to be like the people who make Avatar are shit for not making it into a thing that people actually want to consume, sure. But the thing itself is bad.
Your arrogance is you're really starting to get under my skin.
It's not being arrogant.
It is.
It's
It is
not.
arrogance.
It's
It
not
is
being
arrogance.
It's not
It
being
is
arrogant.
arrogance.
It's not at all. It's not at
Because
all.
you don't like comic books, Justin.
That has nothing to do with not liking comic
Yes,
books.
it does.
I love comic books.
All you've done is fucking denigrate them.
Well, no, I've denigrated this specific franchise's comic books because nobody wants to
No.
read Avatar comic books.
No, you have very much put forth the idea that
Absolutely not. That's how you're interpreting
media which
it.
moves is superior to movie, and that media that doesn't. If it's in comic book form, it's
No,
inferior.
it's not at all.
You use the
I said
word
sometimes.
shit.
Some people want to see the thing that the medium that is originally
Yeah,
in
sure, but just
first.
because it's in comic book form
It's a
doesn't make
lesser
it
quality
shit.
version of the thing.
It doesn't make it shit.
It's just like how you can make a shit adaptation of a comic book that's not very good, that I would say is shit. It's a lesser quality version of a thing that people
No,
want.
it's not.
But it is. It's just
It's
by
not.
default. It's not the thing.
Because it's in fucking comic book form doesn't make it
It's-
inferior.
It's inferior because it's a stationary. It's a stationary piece
Yeah,
of
that's your
media.
arrogance, Justin.
That's not an arrogance. I mean,
It
it's
is.
my opinion. And no, it is. It is. You said that when it came down to it, you would much rather watch the story of Zuko's mother in animation. So no,
Of course I would.
That's my point. My point is you wouldn't choose
But just because
the
it's in
comic
comic book doesn't mean that
That's
it's
not
shit.
what I'm saying.
That is what you said.
I'm saying you would pick one over the. No,
That
I
is
said
what
it's
you
shit
have
because it's
said.
not very good.
You're wrong.
Okay, really? You would whole chestedly recommend I read the comic in which Zuko finds his mother with your whole chest. Say that
If you're a fan. If you're a fan of the show, yes, I would, because it's a payoff to a thing that they set up that you never got to otherwise finish.
Again, why would I? Who cares? It's in a comic book that nobody read. That's my point.
That's your arrogance.
But it's not an arrogance. It's a fact.
It is.
Nobody read that comic book. You even said it yourself. Anybody you went to probably wouldn't have even heard of it. But they have heard of this movie. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Is this
But
movie is a better version of that.
My
crap
point
comic book
is that
nobody
the
read.
only reason why people have heard of this movie is because it got leaked, because there was all that drama around it. Otherwise,
think that's
no,
true at
this
all.
would not have been heard of, Justin.
I
It would have by
completely-
Avatar fans,
I
sure,
completely disagree.
but it wouldn't have been heard
See,
of.
and that's the
Not-
thing. That's the thing that's interesting. And then I promise we will move on. Avatar fans
And the
are
reason
being
why the comic
whiny
books aren't
bitches
heard
about
of
this movie
is because
They're-
people don't hear about comic books. It's a very set margin of people that read comic books, right? So like,
But there's a big difference between a Marvel comic.
The animated movies or shows, they're definitely more prevalent because they're more popular. Because they're more like they're on television, so they're easier to fucking get. If you want to go read a comic book, you have to go and get the comic book.
I would to be
you want
fair,
to watch television and watch animation. That's on your television and
To
it's
be
in your
fair-
home. You don't know. You got to talk.
I
Let
was
me
just gonna
talk.
say I would say this of any
You don't have
animated
to go
show.
anywhere for animation. So yes, that's why it's more prevalent. It's more prevalent. So it's going to be more popular. That doesn't mean it's better. Better is such a strong, final, like
Animation is
no,
always better.
no, you're not.
Animation
I'm
is
sorry,
always better.
but you're wrong.
But also,
there are
it's-
just times where a comic book is better.
but it's
The Injustice comic book is better.
No, but that's not the same thing.
It is the same thing, but
that's
in reverse.
not the same thing. That's a very false equivalence. Like to me.
No, it's not.
No, here's how I would put it. To me, not exceptionally
Really
well.
to call it shit.
It's not very
just
good,
such
Jordan.
that's not.
It's
I'm
not
sorry,
very. It's
but
not
no.
very good. Like
If
to
it
me,
was-
to me,
if it was-
to
if
me,
it
it's
was
like the
animated and
equivalent
put
of
into
going.
the show. If it was animated and put into the show and it was another season, you wouldn't be saying
No,
it's
because
shit.
it would be better. It would be good. It would be
Like-
in its proper,
but
correct
but-
form. To me,
So you just don't like the visual medium of comic
No,
books.
that's not accurate at all.
That's
Like,
what I'm
to me,
saying.
No.
If
To
you-
me,
if
to me,
the
to
only
me,
difference, if the only
comparable-
difference, if you put it and you took it in the show, the story is the same. What they say is the same.
Yeah.
The dialogue is the
It
same.
would be an
Every
animation.
aspect of it is the same. The only difference is the animation. You don't like comic books,
That has
then.
nothing to do. No, I don't like. I want to watch my animated show as an animated show. Like to me, the comparison I would make, to use your Injustice comparison, it's excellent. To me, that's like saying that the animated movie is just as good as the comic book that it's based on. It's not. It's not.
I wouldn't say just as good. I
That
would call
movie
it
is
different.
shit. It's a bad
different.
movie.
It's
Like,
different. It's a different
No,
medium, and it is a different way
It's
that
a
you have
bad
to look at it.
movie. And it's like, yeah, you're right.
Yes,
what
it
I
is.
what
It
I
is
what
a
I what would I
bad
rather
movie.
what would I
and
rather
it's a
do?
good comic.
That's my
But
point,
because
though.
it's a comic
That's my
and because
point.
it's a movie,
I'd
they're
much
different.
rather read.
I wouldn't look at one and say like. Yes, I would say that movie is shit because it's a shit movie.
Right, but
I
what
would
I'm
say
saying
it's a
is-
shit movie because of what it is.
But-
So just like with the comic books of the Zuko's mom one, I wouldn't call it a shitty thing because it's a comic book. It's a comic book. I look at it and I have to evaluate it in a different method. It's not a movie and
Shit
it's not a
because
show.
it should be a show.
So it's not instantly shit. The situation is shit. And the studio is shit. The Paramount is shit for fucking blocking the Avatar studio. But the product itself is not shit.
I've read panels of it. It's none of the characters sound like they
They're
sound
soft.
right. No, because I would say the same thing in reverse about the Injustice comics. I'd be like, I'd much rather read 5 issues of that Injustice comic than watch one badly made movie. I'd rather read another issue of that Injustice comic that resolves it. Like if that Injustice comic ended on a cliffhanger, I'd much rather it come out as 5 issues of a comic than a motion comic. Like, no, I want to read the thing as it was intended. Like, I would say, but to be fair, I would say the same thing about any cartoon. I would say the same thing about Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. I would say the same thing about DuckTales. I'm like, nobody, you can't convince me that anyone's like, yeah, I'd rather read a DuckTales comic than watch the cartoon. No, nobody's gonna say that because
Again,
it's just
as a supplemental thing.
absolutely.
I think
Well,
it's
no, but
fine.
that's different. Like, that, to me, it's so much more different than like, yeah, no, you like. It depends. Like, yeah, there's times where, no, I'd rather read a Superman comic book. Or I'd rather read Spider-Man as a comic book. Absolutely. But, like, with Avatar, no. Avatar, it began its life as a show. So every day of the week, I'm going to be like, no, I'd much rather an animated movie than a crappy comic book I have to supplementally
And
read.
see, that's where I
don't-
disagree.
That's not...
where I'm like, I would rather have the movie, but if I also get a comic book which has a supplemental story where this was a thing that we didn't see on the screen, that's cool too.
Yeah, but a sequel is not supplemental. That's my point.
That's not what I said.
No, but that's what I'm saying is I don't want the
Again,
sequel to be a comic book.
we're having two different conversations again, Justin. Let's
this-
move on.
I want the sequel to be.
That's
I want the
that's
sequel to
great.
be-
Let's
but it would
move
be
on.
like if you made like episode 9, and if you were making Star Wars, and like episode 9 was a comic book, you'd be like, no, I'd much rather episode 9 be a movie.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. So
yeah, well,
let's move
you're
on.
talking about like the Knights of the Old Republic or like those guys, and like that's where I'm like, yeah, there being a
I'm
comic
talking
of a character
about
you've never heard of or will
episode
never...
9 comes out, or episode let's do what I know. I'm saying episode 3 comes out and episode 4 comes out, and maybe we get an adventure in between 3 and 4 that we
not
see.
The same thing.
It is
Not
the
the-
same thing.
that's
It
not
is
what
the
I'm
same thing. If fucking the end of Avatar is 3 and fucking Korra is 4,
No, but
we're
it's-
seeing in between the two. This is the comic book run
But
that
it's
is the
not.
fucking thing.
Like
Yes,
that the end of
it
the
is.
series indicates that it's going to continue on, and that is a continuation of the story.
I mean, in this specific example, yes, absolutely. This very definitely what they have for those is the next season. It is what they would have done on the show. Like in this specific example, yes, absolutely that is the case. And yes, it should have been just in the show. And that's where I say,
no
but that's where
Avatar
I say,
fan wants
that's
them.
where I say I'm not gonna get mad at the comic books for existing. I'm gonna get mad at the fucking
Oh,
Paramount.
no, I'm not
or
mad
whatever,
I'm not
Nickelodeon,
mad that they
whatever.
exist, and I don't think
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
are.
denying
You
their
spend-
right
you
to
spend
exist.
nothing- yes,
I'm
you
saying
are.
nobody wants them. That's what I'm saying. Nobody wants them. Like, and that two things can be true at once. It's fine that they exist, and it's great that they exist, and they're great for the people who want to continue that story, and it's great that they have them. I'm saying that if you say to me that I want those, you're lying to yourself. You don't want those. You want it to be what it was supposed to be, the 5th book of the series. That's what you want, and that's all I'm asking people to admit to themselves, is admit that you want this movie to be a movie, and you don't want it to be another comic book. That's what I'm saying you need to admit. And to be fair, you already did. Moving on. King of the Hill.
I like that movie.
That movie is really fucking good. Everyone, if you were all of our wild Avatar debate aside, you are doing yourself a disservice as an Avatar fan if you don't watch it. That we can agree on. If you are a fan of that franchise, of that show, skip the shitty fucking Korra show. We can agree that is shitty, and skip the shitty looking Earthbender show and watch this instead.
I can't speak it to if the Earthbender one is good or not. I haven't
That's why I
watched
said
it.
shitty looking.
I stand by what I said.
Shitty looking. It looks bad. No, that's not fair. There's actually parts of it I think look good. I think if they massage
It
some of
has-
the anime, it has potential.
It has potential.
It has potential. I really hope they lean into the notion that nobody wants an Avatar. Like the Avatars come back and nobody wants one, because that would be unique. That would be a unique.
I'm just
thing.
kind of hoping that they do a thing where
That's
I've
what I'm
already said
hoping
this
for.
before, where each of the twins has one of the two spirits. One has Rava, one has
That would
the
also be
evil
fun.
Vatu.
That would be kind of fun.
And like the one that you think has Rava and who is acting like a good person ends up having the Vatu, the evil spirit, and the one who seems like they're acting like the evil one, and this is the red herring, like they seem like they're acting like they're the bad, naughty one or something like that, and they actually have the light spirit in them. I think that'd be a fun inversion.
I do think it would be fun. I also think it would be kind of fun if they split the good spirit and like half of them got half of the cycle.
No, that doesn't work
That'd
for
be
me.
kind of fun. So like half of them gets like one of them gets the earthbending, the other one gets water, and then they have to learn to use their avatar state together.
They're not the Avatar at that point.
That'd be kind of a fun. That'd be kind of a fun inversion of it. But I do think that there should be 2 avatars. Definitely think there should be 2 avatars. That would be fun. That'd be
Yeah, the way that
fun.
it works, the easiest way that it works is have one be Vatu and one be
No,
Rava.
because then that would involve. See, it's funny. You're mentioning shit from Korra. That would involve acknowledging Korra. I don't.
They already have to. Korra's the one who caused this.
Yeah, they can make it loose. I don't that good spirit, evil spirit, unless they massage it a whole bunch and fix it. I'm not against it. I'm not against your idea.
I mean,
it's just
pretty. The thing here, Justin, that you need to keep in mind is from what we've seen in the trailer, that is the case. Vatu is in the trailer, so he's gonna be. He's at the very end of it.
No,
he's gonna be in it. So is the. That's also the idea of why the world is going to hell in this is because Vatu is coming back.
don't like it. Anyway,
That's like the entire point of
King
it.
of the Hill. Hey there, everybody. It's NCard Justin here. Let me know down in the comments. Have you seen the new Avatar movie? Did it make you mad that you didn't get to see it in theaters like it made us mad? If you have any thoughts about anything that we talked about in this video, let me know what you're thinking down in the comments down below. But in the meantime, if you'd like to see the full podcast, this is from the... I'm not gonna lie, I just wanted to watch this movie episode of the show. You can click the box on the left, or if you just want to see a random video that YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy, click the box on the right. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. We put new videos out 7 days a week. Or you can just leave this video a like. That helps us out too. We'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day, everybody.